Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Film Hunting, a podcast about an average couple who are on the hunt for some good movies. In today's world, we are consuming more media than ever, perhaps more passively than ever. But we believe that by documenting and discussing the media we intake, how and what we intake will change for the better. It is important that we don't just become another consumer, but a participant, seeking to engage with the media we consume, so that we can see how our view of the world affects how we perceive it, and how it affects how we perceive the world. In this podcast, we are not only on the hunt for some good movies, but on the hunt for a good discussion. So, lean in, participate, and enjoy. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good Film Hunting. James here as always, and besides me is sitting not James, but
Savannah.
it always takes you a second to realize what I'm doing.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I said that with a question mark too. Savannah.
Savannah. Who else would it be?
Savannah.
Everyone's favorite grassy plain.
It's true. Where the rhinos and the elephants reside.
Exactly. Yep. What movie are we talking about this evening?
Chicken Run. I didn't hesitate then.
It's true, but we're not talking about, unfortunately.
Dawn of the Nugget.
Yes, that one. The
Number
second
2.
one. Number 2. This is unfortunately not the first one.
Planet of the Nuggets.
Planet of the Nugget.
War of the Planet of the Nuggets.
This did really feel like Planet of the Chicken. In some ways, with intelligent chickens, learning how to break out. It felt very much like Planet of the Apes. Like intelligent chickens escape, start to free other chickens.
Did you say that when we were watching it?
I think I did.
I feel like I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I feel like they could go very much into Planet of the Chicken direction with this. Yeah. But before we get into that, how are you doing this evening?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I feel simultaneously energized, but not after drinking that matcha. I drank pretty much the whole thing, and it was a venti.
It's crazy.
But like you said, it was probably watered down.
It's true. Well, it's a frappuccino, to specify, matcha frappuccino. A watered down, venti warm drink matcha sounds kind of gross.
They make venti warm drinks?
Yeah.
That seems really tall.
They make Trenta cold drinks. So Starbucks lesson. So Starbucks, for hot drinks, there's the short, which is 8 ounces. Tall, 12 ounces. Grande, 16. And venti is 20?
I think something like that.
But with cold drinks, they have tall, grande, venti, and Trenta.
Is it Trenta?
Trenta, yeah. I think the ounces might be a little different because of ice. And that's why they have Trenta, because it is a lot of ice sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get a Trenta Frappuccino officially, but
Unofficially.
you can do it unofficially. You can ask for it in a Trenta cup, because more often than not, there's leftover Frappuccino juice when they make the venti, and also there's more room for whipped cream if you want extra whipped cream, because there's more space. You can just
Gotcha.
if you want extra whipped cream on the bottom, because it's a specialized drink, then you can have Trenta. It's the cup to go for. But then again, you're drinking a cup of just pure sugar, caffeine.
True. It's probably a lot of calories too.
It's probably not good for you. I would not recommend it. It's like they're trying to fatten us up, like they're going to eat us, like we're chickens.
Oh, that's a great segue.
Yay. Okay. Before we delve into this episode, I will go over the usual overview, just for those who might be listening for the first time. To start the episode, I'm going to list some facts for Savannah. Some facts that she may know, some facts that she might not know. We'll see. And then we'll go over our history and our thoughts with the movie. We're going to introduce a new segment, our favorite moment of the movie.
Oh, we have so many new segments.
So many new segments. And then we'll go through our rating system. We'll talk about 4 different aspects of the movie and rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. We'll go over our individual overall ratings based on that. Tom Hanks will come out and sing a silly song at the end, but not really, unfortunately.
Okay.
Then we've got a couple impressions, and then we will move on to our next movie. Not in this episode, but like in life in general. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you ready for some facts?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. When was this released?
2023.
A shock.
I know. I'm so
Do you know what
sorry.
month?
October.
No.
November.
No.
December.
Yes.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
really this
Yeah,
soon?
like very recently.
Oh.
Do you know what day?
18th.
15th. Very close. Very, very recently. I could not find any information on the budget. And it obviously doesn't have a box office because it's a Netflix distributed film. This movie was directed by Sam Fell, whose only things I recognize that he directed as well was The Tale of Despero with Universal Pictures. You haven't seen that or read that book, have you? That was one of the few instances where I like the movie more than the book. The book's by Kate DiCamillo.
Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah.
her.
He also co-directed Paranorman with Leica Studio. Are you familiar with that one?
I've seen the cover of the movie and thought it
cover?
looked really dumb.
It's a zombie movie, so yeah. The screenplay, though, was written by Karen Kirkpatrick, John O'Farrell, and Rachel Toonard, I think. I'm not familiar with anything Rachel's done. Karen, though, actually has done a lot. I'm just going to pull up the list. Sorry, did I say Karen? It's Carrie. Why did I say Karen? I apologize, Carrie. It's a male. It's not a she.
I know. I was like, wait, Karen, a woman.
Sorry. But he has written a lot of things, including The First Chicken Run, The Rescuers Down Under, James and the Giant Peach, Over the Hedge, The Spiderwick Chronicles, which is a movie I grew up liking. It's kind of like, it was kind of more of my bridge to Terabithia type of movie. Charlotte's Web, the live action one, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I'm not familiar with.
Really? Have you never heard of that?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah.
What's it about?
I have no idea. I just know that it is science fiction, but I don't really know what it means.
Interesting. He directed the film Over the Hedge, Imagine That, and Smallfoot. He also worked on a couple English language or adaptation of like English language screenplays for Studio Ghibli films, including The Secret World of Arrietty and From Up on Poppy Hill. I haven't seen either of those. But Carrie Kirkpatrick and John O'Farrell, who both worked on this movie, also wrote the musical Something Rotten,
Oh,
which
you
is
just listened to?
Yes, the Shakespeare spoof one. I thought it was funny. So these guys have a lot of things going for them, but also some that are like, meh. Nothing like
Interesting.
bad from what I can tell.
Yeah.
The music was done by Harry Gregson Williams, who did the previous movie as well. We know him for doing the Narnia soundtrack, and he also did Shrek. Apparently he did The First Chicken Run with John Powell, who we know for doing Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. This was Harry Gregson's 5th collaboration with Aardman. Actors include Thandie Newton as Ginger. She ended up replacing Julia Sawala, who did the original Ginger, but Julia wasn't brought back to do it because apparently she was considered too old to do the role, which a lot of people thought was ageist.
That's weird.
But
How
Thandie,
do that's weird. People's voices don't change that much as they get. I mean, they do to an extent.
I guess
but
so. I don't know. I haven't heard. But they had like they obviously had her voice as reference that the new actress Thandie did use as reference. The only thing that Thandie's been in that I recognize is Mission Impossible 2. She did the love interest. Zachary Levi did Rocky, replacing Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was not asked back to this film due to some controversies that were brought up in previous years, I guess. Zachary Levi, he does your favorite Disney prince.
Flynn Rider?
Yes.
I know, I thought his name sounded familiar.
He also starred in a couple superhero movies because he looks like that kind of person. Bella Ramsey did Molly. Imelda Stoughton did Bunty. We know her from being in Downton Abbey and the villain in Harry Potter. What's her name? The pink lady? Professor Umbridge.
Who was she in Downton? Was she just in the Downton Abbey movie?
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, because she's not.
Yeah,
like
okay,
the-
sorry. I thought
She's
she
not
was
a
in the show.
canon.
She's not a canon character. I'm sorry. Okay. And then Lynn Ferguson did Mac. I wasn't really familiar with anything she'd done. And then David Bradley did Fowler. And he did Atticus Finch in the Harry Potter movies. So,
Interesting.
we're kind of familiar with this cast a little bit.
I want to watch Harry Potter again.
I know, but like, I'm not ready, personally.
I know. And I don't really have time to just watch it.
It's true. That would be quite the commitment.
I know.
So, as we know, this sequel is 23 years after the original one. That's a bigger span between the first Incredibles and the second Incredibles.
Wow. So Chicken Run came out in 2000?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
It's
but-
older than us.
I know. The sequel was proposed by DreamWorks after the initial release of the first one's success, but Aardman didn't feel that they were ready for it.
They're like, it takes us a day to create 3 seconds of video, and we just don't want to commit to that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Has Aardman done anything? Yeah, of course they've done things after that.
Yeah.
Duh. They've done
Wallace and Gromit.
Shaun the Sheep movie.
Others.
Flushed Away.
Yes. Arthur Christmas. But Aardman officially announced that they would do a sequel for Chicken Run 2018. However, they weren't working with DreamWorks anymore at that point due to some actually pretty serious flops they had with DreamWorks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like what?
I can't remember which movies it was. It might have been Flushed Away, one of them. They were just like serious box office bombs. I can't remember. I think there was like
Flushed
two in a
Away,
row.
to be fair, even though it had a lot of, I feel like it had a lot of like public, like they had a lot of, you know, like a lot of advertisement and a lot of stuff like that. And I don't ever want to see it.
Yeah.
It looked really cursed.
It did look a little weird. Aardman has been an interesting one because they've kind of hopped from studio to studio. Like big studios. Like they did DreamWorks and then Sony with Arthur Christmas, and now they're with Netflix for the Chicken Run sequel. That's just very interesting. But when they started on the sequel, or post-production began 2019, but apparently they had lost most of their props and models due to a warehouse fire in 2005.
Aw. How sad.
I know. That's really sad.
I wonder if that's why the design of some of their characters changed.
That could be it. But they had a making of book that had been preserved, so they were able to use that as reference to recreate everything. So yeah, I thought, well, it was all interesting.
No, it was so sad though.
I know.
No,
Sad.
so this is a random tangent you can edit out
Oh, okay.
about Netflix. But it's so crazy how Netflix is like a studio basically now, and they like make things. I remember back in the day, not when I was not even that young. I mean, I guess I was somewhat young, but you know, how my mom would go on the internet onto Netflix.com and order movies, and they would come to us in the mail in DVD form, and we'd watch them and then send them back.
Yeah.
And like you couldn't watch movies on Netflix, like you had to buy them.
Well, we
You had to
could.
rent them. No, you couldn't watch them on the.
Well, I guess I was never introduced to it at that stage because you could watch them, but then you could also, or there were certain movies you had to order.
I'm pretty sure at the point when we were using it, you could only order them,
Okay.
which is crazy.
Well, interesting. There we go. I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, I'd have to Google when exactly it started becoming a streaming service, but I'm pretty sure streaming services weren't a thing back then.
No, probably not. It was kind of like a library at that point. Huh. All good to know. Okay. So that was my list of facts and information for Savannah. before we go into the rest of it, what were your general thoughts on the movie? And you don't really have a history because it literally came out like 3 weeks ago.
It's true.
But I guess what's your history with the first one, kind of, and how it ties into this one?
Well,
Well,
I don't remember the first time I watched Chicken Run. I always kind of thought it was weird looking. Like, I was always like, I don't want to watch this. This looks weird. Like, I kind of put it on the same category as that cringe movie Back to the Barnyard or something that had that boy cow with the udder. So, I don't, for some reason, I always put them in the same category, kind of. And so I was like, But when did I watch it for the first time? No, I did not watch it for the first time.
No, you didn't watch it for the first time with me. Because you'd seen it at that point.
Yeah, it's fuzzy. I don't remember the first time I watched it. But, yeah, I have watched the first one. And I've enjoyed it each time. And so I was looking forward to seeing the new one. And my thoughts on that were interesting. I thought it was very colorful.
Very colorful.
Very colorful. Much more colorful than the first
Felt
one.
like an Easter movie.
It did. It was very colorful.
Yeah.
And I preferred the vibes of the first one better. As far as that goes. Like, they seemed like they were in a concentration camp in the first one.
I know.
And in the second one, they were just like Easter basket.
Yeah.
But also creepy Easter basket.
Yeah.
Scary Easter basket.
Weird.
But, anyway, yeah. Those are my feelings. My spoiler-free thoughts.
Spoiler-free thoughts? I mean, did you like it? Did you not like it?
Oh, okay. I have a middling feeling. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I was somewhat... When it first started, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, wow, this is going to be a good movie.
Oh,
and
really?
then pretty much as soon as Molly leaves home,
Oh, okay.
I was like...
It's like, I haven't seen this before.
Or no, actually, pretty much as soon as I started breaking into the place.
Oh, okay.
Then I was
Really?
like, yeah, and then I was like, this is kind of...
Really, that's the part where I thought it was like, it started getting fun.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't like the beginning of it?
No.
So you liked it better towards the end?
Kind of.
I mean, either way, I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I
Yeah.
liked it. I wouldn't watch it again, probably, because it's a little trite and, like,
Yeah.
childish
Yeah.
and too colorful for me, for my elderly eyes, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
didn't make me cringe very often, which I was proud of.
Did it not?
I think I only cringed, like, twice.
Yeah, there were a couple moments here and there.
It's true.
Yeah, the first one, we're obviously not reviewing the first movie at this point, but the first one was, we watched it whenever we went over to my great-grandparents' house, because they had it, I think on VHS, actually. So that was a regular when we went over there. So yeah, it was kind of a core memory in that sense. I just remember having very weird vibes from the movie and thinking the scene with the pie machine was terrifying as a child. It's
It
still
was
very
terrifying.
scary. And we watched it somewhat recently and I was just like, yeah, I still like this a lot. I still enjoy it. I think it's very good. So when I knew there was a sequel coming, like I just didn't feel like there needed to be a sequel. Because the first one just like ended and it was done and it was good and it was its thing.
But you know how studios are.
It's true. A sequel, it's gonna bring attention and money, especially the longer you wait. So I didn't really have any high expectations for it, but I thought, well, we'll watch it and see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. But this is probably a very meh movie for me. It's not flat out bad or awful, like, but it's not good or excellent either. It's just very like meh. And so it almost makes it less enjoyable in some ways because it's not so bad you can enjoy it.
It kind of reminded me of Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Peppa Pig, so.
I haven't really either, but like similar energy.
Okay.
Peppa Pig energy. Maybe it's the Britishness.
Probably in the farm animals, the very oddly designed farm animals. But yeah, I mean, I was not impressed with this movie. I just don't think it needs to exist. I don't think our world is better for existing. I don't think my life was impacted in a good way. It's just like, okay, moving on, whatever.
Yeah. it kind of was weird, a little weird vibes for me.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of a mixture. It was like, for some reason, the whole time I was watching it, like, the emotions were like McDonald's Play Place.
Yeah.
Like, the colors and the vibes were just
Yeah.
like a McDonald's Play Place.
Huh.
What was the energy? Peppa
Was it
Pig in McDonald's Play Place
McDonald's
energy.
Play Place? Huh.
Similar vibes. Dystopian, kind of. Which
Just a little
McDonald's
bit.
Play Places are a little dystopian,
Shh.
if you think about it.
I guess so. All the germs.
Yeah. If you think about trying to fit in that now that you're this tall and big, like, it's a little scary.
I know,
Those
it's
are the
true.
feelings I got when I watched this movie.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So, Savannah, what was your favorite moment in the movie?
I think there's two that I liked.
Okay.
I liked when the derpy chicken, whatever her name is, the one who knits.
Oh, is it Bunty?
No, Bunty's the edgy one, the edgy little.
Oh.
What's her name?
Hold on. Oh, I don't remember her name. What was it? Hold on. But we know which
Yeah,
chicken
anyway,
you're talking
that
about.
chicken, when she knitted a bicycle for Molly and it was knitted and it was
Babs,
floppy.
that's who it
Babs,
is.
yeah.
She knitted the bike.
Yeah.
I made a bicycle. Pulled up a knitted bike.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And then I also like the part where the chickens take a picture of that guy's eye and use it to break in, and then the person is literally staring intently at every detail of the eye and then flipping through a paper catalog to find the eye and confirm that it is an actual person that works there instead
was
of them
pretty
having
funny.
a computer. I thought that was funny. Like the mixture in the factory of like extreme high tech and then extreme low tech was very humorous to me.
I know. It's very odd.
So I like those parts.
I like the part where they were this was after Ginger decided that the chickens need to go into hiding after they realized the threat. And so they're trying to camouflage the island, and then Fowler's in the bush, and Rocky like bumps into it. And then what does Fowler say? It's like, I'll be teaching a camouflage class later, if you can find me. And then he just goes walking away in his bush.
I thought that was funny. That was humorous.
That was pretty funny. There's also another moment that's just kind of spoiler, so I'll wait to save it. I love it and I hate it so much. It's so bad. And I like it just because of that. I don't think the movie should have had it, but it just makes me cringe and like.
You should say it.
Should I say it now? Okay, this is spoiler filled, so if you haven't seen it, well, too bad. It was the part where.
If you haven't seen it, why are you listening to
Yeah,
the movie
exactly.
review?
Yeah, why are you here? So Mrs. Tweedy is not dead. She's returned, and she and Ginger have this rivalry apparently. But there's the scene where they're facing off on the bridge, or whatever that thing is. That's high up above all the machines, and then Ginger is laying helpless, and then Tweety's gonna throw the axe at her, but then Molly, the daughter, comes in to save her. But then Mrs. Tweedy looks at the girl, the Molly, and then looks back at Ginger, and then grabs Molly and says, "What have we here?" It's such an incredible moment. We have a whole family of supers.
I thought you hated that part.
I do, but it's so bad it's funny.
That was funny, especially since in the real world.
No, that's not how that works.
I know. I mean, I guess if a chicken was unique enough and you knew your flock, you could tell what chicken was your chicken's child. But I don't know.
It was so bad.
It was pretty
funny.
bad. It was funny though. It didn't make quite as much of an impact on me as it did. On
I
you.
knew they were gonna do it though. 5 seconds before they did, I was like, no, don't do it. So the name Dawn of the Nugget, I feel like that. I don't know. Do you feel like that name was fitting for this? I felt like it would have been better if it was just Chicken Run 2.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Dawn of the Nugget.
Where's Chicken Running 2? Chicken Run 2 Factory?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, also another favorite part that was just humorous to me that they included was Frizzle and Molly are looking at the trucks, and Frizzle's super sad. She's like, "We get our very own bucket to sit in," because that's what the chicken's sitting in on the truck.
Wow.
And like they thought it was like so exciting, and they were like gonna go to summer camp basically.
Oh.
That was dumb of them, but it was funny.
True,
It was very
but
chicken.
like, granted, Molly had no idea in her defense. Okay, so now we're going into our rating system where we have 4 categories that we'll rate on a scale of 1 to 5. Entertainment, production quality, the writing, and content. So, Savannah, we'll start with you for entertainment. Where would you give this one on a scale of 1 to 5?
I think I'd give it a 3.
Okay.
There were some funny moments, as we mentioned, but I feel like it went on a little too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took them a little too long to like I felt like the beginning of them breaking into the place wasn't that long. Like the beginning wasn't long, but
Yeah.
like while they were in there and trying to escape, it was just really long.
Yeah. A lot of back and forth and meandering and
Running around. There were some funny moments. There were also some dumb moments. There were some really dumb characters,
yeah.
which we'll probably talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's a 3. It wasn't like super entertaining, but it wasn't bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd land at a 3 too. It was just okay. Like you're saying, there were funny moments as we discussed, and there were a couple bad moments that were so bad they made me laugh. But most of the time, it was just kind of like generic, and the jokes didn't land well, and the story was just really cliche. In some ways, this movie was, in a lot of ways, it was really absurd. Like, the whole premise of them having to break into this massive, super scientific, cool, high-tech factory specifically designed just to keep chickens happy is very bizarre.
It was.
Like, it's insanely bizarre. But at the same time, I felt like there was a certain level of absurdity they didn't lean into enough to make me truly enjoy it. Like the moment with the eyeball, where they're like, supposed to be the retina scanner, but like it's literally a book filled with people's different eyes. That was absurd. But like, I felt like I needed a little more of that sprinkled in. Just because it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like I definitely reached a point towards the end, like you were saying, where I was kind of like, oh, okay, when's this going to be over? I felt like, yeah, there wasn't enough of it that was funny enough that made me
Be like, I want
really
this to keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, there were lots of little things scattered here and there. Like another moment I think of is the snail and Rocky, and how the snail couldn't get away from Rocky as he was telling a story.
Was it Fowler?
Sorry. Not Rocky, Fowler, you're right. Fowler, sorry. That amused me a little bit.
It was funny.
But yeah, I just felt like there was absurdity, but it wasn't like absurd enough for me to think it was truly funny. But yeah, I think it was a little creative in a lot of ways, but almost like I felt like I just had so many questions about why things were the way they were. Whereas the first one was very creative, but like it made sense within the world they built. Like it was a boot camp, but like, okay, it's a farm. It's a chicken farm that the chickens think of as a boot camp. So that's very creative.
Boot camp? Like concentration
Not a boot camp, sorry. Concentration camp. My words are getting jumbled tonight. And the fact that they played on that was very creative. But like this one, I don't know, they just kind of felt like they just kind of threw things out there. And I was like, why? But why do we need it to be like a lab that the chickens have to break into? It felt too dramatic almost of a difference to go from concentration camp or prison breakout to, okay, and now we're breaking into this massive, oversized, fancy factory specifically designed to keep the chickens happy. Granted, the world revolves around chickens in these films.
It's true. Everyone eats chicken.
Everyone eats chicken. It's the primary food source, it would appear.
I know. In that country.
Or state. Oh, we have no idea.
It's the United Kingdom, obviously.
Okay. Obviously. Okay.
Obviously.
So yeah, it's just...
It should have been a potato factory.
Should it have
or
been?
A cabbage factory.
That would have been funny. These films are obviously very dystopian. I'll go more into writing in a lot of ways from the chicken's perspective. It's very dark when you stop and consider certain aspects of it. Okay. Production quality. What would you give this in production quality?
Probably a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing about it super stood out to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, with the first one, 4 is, as in it was good, but, like, it wasn't like, super interesting.
Yeah.
Because, like, the first one, like, I do love claymations. I actually went through a claymation phase when I was younger, and I, like, really wanted to make them, and I thought they were really cool.
Yeah.
But it didn't really give super claymation vibes to me
Yeah.
this time around, unlike the first.
Yeah.
I think claymations from the past are cooler than claymations from the present because the ones from the past actually look like clay.
Yeah.
And, like, if they're not so professional, I feel like this one was just a little professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to give it a 3 because it wasn't, like, to my liking, but it was, like, I won't give it that because I feel like it genuinely was actually, it was good, but it just wasn't
Impressive.
my favorite.
Very, like, if you stop and think about what they did, it's pretty impressive, considering it was clay and stop motion. Do you feel like the casting was good? And were there any actors that stood out to you as being particularly good or bad, or?
No, I thought they were all pretty average, like how they were in the first.
Okay.
I like the voice of that Scottish chicken, whatever her name is. Mac.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Is it amusing?
It's amusing. But yeah, I thought it was all pretty average or pretty on par with the first.
Yeah.
I thought Rocky was a little less cool sounding in this one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk about that more in writing probably, but
Well, for the character, I guess,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd give this a 4 too, and it only gets a 4 because when you stop and consider, like, the fact that, like I was saying, it's claymation and these are characters that they literally had to move, like half a millimeter and then get a picture, and then you consider the fact that there are like 100 chickens in a single shot. That's very impressive.
I know.
That's very impressive. And the charm of these movies is that, the sets are built. Like, they're actual sets that are there, which is really neat. So, but like you were saying, it just didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It just felt very superficial in a lot of ways, even though, it's, and I was mentioning this, I feel like this movie didn't benefit from the claymation style. Like, I didn't watch it, and one, I didn't get the charm of claymation, and two, like, how is this medium truly benefited by being told through claymation as opposed to CG? Because it looks so good that it's almost CG.
Yeah.
And so I felt like maybe they're obviously I'm sitting, on my bed talking about this. I haven't gone and done it. I wish maybe there had been something a little more, like they had pushed, I guess, the boundaries of claymation a little more of an obvious way. Because granted, the scale is very big.
Yeah.
But, like, it just, once again, I felt like I never looked at it and thought to myself, oh, this is claymation. This is so cool and novel.
Yeah.
Unlike the first one. Like, oh, it's very novel that they do this.
Or even like Shaun the Sheep. Like I like Aardman's more crude animation, like the Wallace and Gromit movies, or like claymation, because like you can see like fingerprints in the clay, and the people are kind of bumpy because they're made with your fingers, and like it's cool. And it's nifty, and it's cool because it is clay, and like in this movie, you're like, this looks like really
polished,
well animated clay that looks like it's supposed to be clay, but it's not actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I was thinking even about the texture, like in the first one, like it felt very dirty because it was like a farm with chickens. Whereas this one was just very shiny.
It was like Happy Meal toys that came to life.
Yeah. So I just felt like there wasn't really a need for this story to be told in clay.
Feeling like making a lot of McDonald's parallels for some reason.
You are making it is chickens after all.
It's true.
See, and the music wasn't as good. The first one's music was actually really good. If I were to rate the production quality of the first one, I think I'd easily give it a 5. But like everything in here was just subpar. I think it was good, but like And I give it a 4 just because like I have the head knowledge of knowing certain aspects of it were really well done, and I could never hope to do that. But I didn't feel that it was necessarily super good in the way that I wanted it to. So yeah, I'll give it a 4 with you. So moving on to writing, Savannah, what would you give it for writing?
I would give it a 3. Not because it was bad. 3's not really bad though. 3 is in the middle. To me, 3 sounds bad, but because I don't think it was doing anything unique or special. Like we've all seen these prison break. I mean, granted, the first one was a prison break out, but like we've all seen the break in, infiltrate, trick the guards, heist. So that wasn't that exciting. I mean, okay, I'm lying. I've always found heists to be very exciting. I do enjoy a good heist in a movie.
Mission Impossible, to name
Despicable
one major.
Me. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say anything like major stood out about it. Like, I'm the kind of person that wished they would have just stayed on their little chicken island. And like, I wish this was just a movie about their life on the chicken island.
Okay.
Because I'm that kind of person.
Gotcha.
So, I'd give it a 3. I thought most of the characters were pretty consistent with the first movie. Rocky was really dumb in this particular movie. Like, he was really dumb.
Yeah.
He was kind of dumb in the first one, but he was like especially dumb in the second one.
Yeah.
He seemed very henpecked.
Yeah.
No pun intended. By the rest of everyone, and he just seemed kind of stupid.
Yeah.
The mice were also kind of dumb.
The
Rats.
rats. Yeah. But like, you know, you kind of expect them to be.
Yeah. But Rocky was not even remotely heroic.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, he had the one moment where he distracted everyone from Ginger and Molly. When Ginger had the collar on and was going crazy, and he ended up dancing to distract them and then running away.
Yeah, it just was still, I don't know. The rest of the characters were pretty, like, similar, I would say.
Yeah.
I thought Molly obviously didn't exist in the first one,
Yeah.
but she was... I thought who was interesting because she was obviously very young, and I feel like they kept her personality and her character very young acting. Like, she wasn't, like, super mature for her age or anything. She was just kind of like a kid.
Yeah.
I felt like being a kid.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of refreshing in a lot of ways. And also, Ginger wasn't, like, overly heroic either. It seemed like kind of a team effort.
She was more reactionary.
Yeah, and so, like, that didn't bother me. I just felt like everyone was kind of dumb.
Yeah, I guess so.
There was no one that was particularly heroic in this movie.
I'd give this a 3 too. It just... Well, let's start with the opening. So let's start with the first chicken run. So, first chicken run, you know, we set the scene. It's a dark concentration camp, right? It's quiet. There are dogs walking around the fence line. This scary guy with the flashlight. The chickens are, you know, in the shadows. And then they suddenly rush out to the fence, you know, with their spoons because they're going to try and dig through. You know, some of the chickens are a bit more klutzies than others. Some, like, run into the fence and make loud noises, and the rest are like, shh. And then, you know, Ginger is at the lead. They dig through the thing. You get the idea, oh, so they're obviously trying to break out of this place. You know, Ginger... She almost gets out, but she ends up getting caught. The rest of the chickens run in panic. And then, you know, the guy, he hurls Ginger, I guess, into this crate or something as, like, punishment for trying to get out. And, you know, he shouts to the chickens, let that be a lesson to all of you. No one escapes Mrs. Tweedy's farm. And then you get the grand music that starts to play in the title, and you get a sense of what this movie's going to be. And then you get the montage of Ginger trying to escape. And you know, that sets the stage for the film.
You're doing a really good job remembering the
I
beginning.
know, I've seen it a million times.
And I'm like, don't really remember that, but I'm sure it happened.
But yeah, it's like, it's a very grand and very good, well-established opening as to what this movie is. And the music, you know, that's obviously production quality, but it was so good because, like, it got you into it, and you knew you were in for an adventure. And then this one, it kind of starts with a recap of the previous movie in case you haven't seen it for some reason. And then, there's the parents of the egg, and then the egg hatches, and it's a derpy baby, and everyone's happy with the derpy baby, and the chickens are all...
Her eyes are 3 times bigger than they should be.
I know. They shrink as she gets older. It's really weird. And then you get this, this English pop song as the baby's growing up.
Which was really annoying to me.
And it was just like, it didn't get you. Like, it didn't invest you in the story in the same way. Like, the opening of the first one, it just proudly displayed what this movie was going to be. And this one's like, okay, it's a parent story. I can get behind that. But it wasn't even that. Like, it didn't even start with, like, Ginger, like... It would have been different to me if, like, Ginger opened the story, like, recounting what she wanted to protect her daughter from so badly.
Yeah.
Instead, it presented Ginger in this heroic light, which is one thing.
But, like, also heroic, but also not even letting on at all to her daughter what she was protecting her from.
Well, yeah, that's something I was going to get into later.
Sorry.
But, like, it opened and it happened, and it didn't really set the stage for anything. But then, yeah, Ginger her twist in this one was she wanted to protect her daughter from what had happened previously. Didn't want her to be exposed to that, which explains her daughter's rebelliousness later. But, like, all the characters in this were just dumb. All of them were so dumb. And
yeah, I feel like even Ginger had, like, much less of a personality than she did.
Yeah, in the first one, like, she was the smart character. She was the thoughtful character, and she was the one who had her head on the whole time, for a chicken. When
she was very resourceful.
Was being really dumb. And so, like, you felt like she was a very compelling character. When this one, it was just a very... She wanted to keep her daughter safe, understandably. But, like, she wasn't reasonable anymore. She was just kind of reactionary. She was kind of cowardly. And it wasn't a good transition. Like, and it wasn't even that I truly believed that she was traumatized by the events of the first one, even though the movie was kind of like hinting at it. And I think that's the biggest fault of the writing in this. It's very childish.
Childish?
Childish.
Yeah, because also, too, is there was no brave character. Like, that whole, like, big brave girl thing in regards to Molly, like, she wasn't particularly heroic.
She was just ignorant.
I mean, she kind of was to an extent, like, but she was also just very childish still.
Yeah.
And this movie is childlike. It is a children's movie.
It's true, but the first one was a children's movie, but it was more adult than this one.
That's true.
Like, it as an adult, I enjoyed watching the first one more than I enjoyed watching this one, because in this one, to me, it's very obvious that they're catering to children, because it's so colorful, it's so silly, and all the characters are dumb, and the people are dumb.
And there's not really that much, like, adult humor in this movie either. Like, and not adult, I mean, as in scandalous, but, like, adult, like...
Or there are not even any adult themes either. Like, it's just not a mature story. And, that we know that the best children's stories are the ones that don't shy away from being, I guess, that trying to be profound in a certain aspect. Like, look at most of Pixar's early works. Like, adults still love those because while they're obviously catering to a younger audience, it's not... They're throwing in elements of maturity in there that everyone can relate to for ages. And the first one does that. We can relate to the story of being heroic and wanting to have freedom.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, because all the characters were dumb and everything was reactionary, it's just, there's not like a timeless lesson that we all can relate to that we could hook onto in a sense.
Yeah, like the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was okay. I wish it could have been a little better, but oh well. Okay, so moving on to content. What would you give it?
My favorite category.
Your favorite category. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 5?
Unless I'm remembering the movie wrong, I would give it a 5.
Okay.
I can think of nothing offensive in this movie.
Okay.
At all. And in the first
Unless you
one,
want to consider like how dark that
it's kind of dark a little bit, but like I don't think kids would pick up on that.
It's true.
So and like adults can pick up on that, but I don't think it would be particularly scarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even with the first one wasn't offensive at all either.
No, they're pretty wholesome.
I mean, the first one was probably scarier to me.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, speaking of writing, there was no moment in this movie that came anywhere close to that.
Feeling perilous and scary.
Yeah, like, once again established as a child
Okay,
watching
to me, Mrs. Tweedy falling into the machine in the second movie was a little creepy, scary.
It was, but, like, you knew she was going to be fine.
Yeah.
She just got covered in, yeah.
Okay.
But, like...
That was creepy, though. Her coming out covered in breading. Like, if you really think about it, she'd have to be coated in breading and then thrown into the deep fryer. But she was still alive.
It's true.
Which, ew, even just thinking about that makes me feel like dying.
Okay.
But I still give it a 5.
True. But, like, the moment that when they the pie machine, when they grab Ginger to return her into a pie, and, like, Rocky goes to save her, as a child, that was a terrifying scene. And to me, even though, like, as an adult, I can watch that scene now and be like, you know, whatever. But, like, nothing in this came close to, like, having the same peril because you knew they were going to make it. Even as all the chickens were, you know, aimlessly walking towards the giant garbage disposal to be turned into nuggets. And all the other chickens, you know, are trying to save them. Like, no, don't do it. There was no sense of peril because, I mean, you knew they were going to be fine. You knew they were going to be fine in, like, Chicken Run, like the first one. But I think, like, there was never a sense of hopelessness.
I think what made it seem a lot more perilous in the first one was Mrs. Tweedy was a lot more unhinged in the first one. Like, Mrs. Tweedy was borderline insane psychopath in the first.
Yeah.
And in the second, she didn't really give me those vibes as much.
No, I mean, she was obviously a psychopath, but, like,
But,
she
like,
wasn't, like, crazy.
No, she, like, looked crazy in the first one. Like, terrifyingly crazy.
Yeah.
Second one, she was just a little mad. A little grumpy.
Yeah.
That her
A little
chickens
grumpy.
escaped.
Found a new husband, which I hated.
I know, I hated her new husband, too.
I mean, I hated the fact that I didn't need her in this movie. It was funny, like, some of the aspects of, like, the rivalry.
Yeah.
I do wish they had lent into that a little bit more.
I thought her new husband was a weird choice. He seemed like a little boy, like a child.
He was, but he had the money and the resources she needed. Anyway.
Creepy. Anyway, I would say I'd give it a 5. I would say it's squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean. I guess I give this one a 5 as well. The only reason I would give it a 4 is just it is kind of dumb.
I don't think that counts as content.
It could, because, like, what value, like, from the characters, do you feel like there's any value you get from it? Or do you feel like it detracts more than it adds value?
I don't think it does either. Like, I think it's pretty neutral.
Yeah.
If they were, like, really dumb, like, if there was, like, a lot of, like, potty humor and,
It's
like,
true.
just stupidity.
Well, obviously, potty humor is its own kind
It's
of
true. But, like, you know, like, there wasn't, like, a ton of stupidity. It was just kind of silly.
Yeah.
And just bumbling.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 5 as well. I don't really have much to comment. There was nothing, nothing offensive or disturbing. I mean, the concept of chickens, like, being people, sentient, and being eaten is kind of really dystopian. Like I said, if you replace those with people, it would be terrifying. But they're chickens, so
It's true.
it's different.
Yeah.
So, what would you give this overall rating? I think you have a 3, a 4, a 3, and a 5. So that brings you to just, like, kind of 4-ish. 4 stars, a bit lower than 4. Would you give it?
Yeah, probably. I would say if I could give it 3.75, I would, but I'll give it 4.
Okay.
Just because, okay, I would say it's a very harmless movie, but there was nothing particularly zesty about it either.
Yeah.
So those are my parting thoughts.
Okay. I'll give it a 3, even though my stars wouldn't necessarily line up with that exactly. They're pretty much the same they're the same as yours. I just give it a 3. It's fine. It exists. It doesn't need to. I don't feel like my life was truly benefited in any way from its existence. But some people might really enjoy it. And there's nothing in it that would particularly be harmful. Other than that, it's just, it exists.
Do you really want to spend this much of your time watching something
No.
that's not particularly adding to your life?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not. Would I recommend it to other people? Probably not, no.
If someone's like, should we watch Chicken Run that just came out?
I'd probably be like, no, to go watch the first one again. The first one's really good. The first one is like, you know.
And then maybe make your own stop motion sequel.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
The first one.
And then go watch Planet of the Apes, because Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is much better than this.
Because by the time your child finishes a stop motion sequel of the first one, they'll be old enough to watch Planet of the Apes.
It's true. All right, Tom Hanks. Where does he come into the equation? Who is getting replaced? Who's getting shanked by the Tom Hanks?
The chicken nugget guy. The one that was gonna work with Mrs. Tweedy.
Oh, Sir
Something.
Sir Eat-a-Lot?
It was like Sir Eat-a-Lot or something.
Yeah. Look, it's Sir Eat-a-Lot. My name is Arthur.
No. Yeah, I would say him.
Okay. I guess they're all British. Tom Hanks isn't British.
It's true.
The only American is Rocky. Bane impression. Was there any quotes that you can think of?
I can't think of any memorable quotes.
Any memorable quotes? Hold on. So the line is, "No, it will be huge. Once my nuggets are out, Militia Tweedy will have her revenge." And so she's talking with Reginald Smith. And this is after she introduced the super good fresh nuggets from the Happy Chickens. They died happy, so they're good. It's so twisted and messed up. Okay, here we go. "No, it will be huge. Once my nuggets are out, Militia Tweedy will have her revenge."
Wow. Good job.
Okay, well that was our hot take on Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget, Dawn of the Planet of the Chicken. If you enjoyed this, let us know. If you agree with our ratings, let us know. If you don't agree, also let us know. You can just leave a comment in the comment section of the tube. But yeah, until next time, we hope that this inspires you to have more conversations around the movies you're watching. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.